Announcing the classic Cadillac for 1986, the rear-wheel drive Fleetwood Brougham. Styling that's every inch a Cadillac. Inches that add up to the longest regular production car. Plus full-size comfort for 6 adults and their luggage. And new for Brougham, a powerful 5-liter V8. If you think big, think about the classic Cadillac, the new 1986 Brougham.
Best of all, it's a Cadillac.
We're at our satellite warehouse. Let's take a peek at what we're driving this week. Well, it looks like they left us a Cadillac with a nice metallic white paint job. Nice looking rig. And looks like it's a CT-4 model, which costs a bit less than the CT-5, of course. Yes, indeed, a very nice looking car. You know, I gotta get the roof fixed someday. Causes a lot of problems when it rains. So let's take this beauty outside and take a closer look. So we drove this Caddy to our test facility for a closer look. And yes, it does even look better outside in the sun than it does in a warehouse. The base price of a CTS runs around $33,000, and for that you get a 2-liter turbo putting out 237 horsepower, with an 8-speed automatic transmission. You'll see that motor in rental fleet cars, but it's really not exciting enough for you to be looking for. Instead, you might want the 2.7-liter engine putting out 310 horsepower with a 10-speed automatic. Or you can get this one here, the 2.7 325 horsepower that comes in the CTS-V model. Or you can fork up an extra $2,500, as we did here, to get the same engine in the non-V model. Fuel economy is rated at 20 in the city, 30 on the highway. We'll be taking this out in the real world to see if that's true. 19% of the car is made in China, but overall it's still made in the USA for you people who care about those things. I'll have to admit I'm kind of confused about these emblems. I know what the CT-4 is, that's the model we're looking at, but way over here, 450T, I don't know what that means. It's not the displacement. 4.5 liters, nope, 2.7. I guess the T is for turbo. It's not 450 horsepower. I have no idea what this means, and some people I talked to at the Cadillac dealer didn't either. Leave a comment in the comments section and let us know. From now on all my videos, the first thing we're going to do when we get a vehicle is check to see if there's a spare tire. You'd be surprised the number where there are not. And no, we don't get one. They say it saves weight. I think it's more about saving money. I believe that's where the tire repair kit is supposed to go. Apparently someone swiped it. Doesn't matter, I brought my own. In addition to the bigger engine at $2,500, we have other options. $1,200 for this nice white metallic paint. $1,700 for stereo navigation system. Then you have the winter package with heated seats, heated steering wheel, which we don't need today since it's 110 degrees outside. And all the other little knickknacks brings us to $45,000, which is a good jump from $33,000, I would think. Let's jump inside and take a look at the interior, which basically looks pretty good in my opinion. We get a giant glove box, more storage between the seats, a very simple to use climate control system. The display screen is a decent size, pretty easy to use. Here's the control center, nothing complicated. Someone at Cadillac must have this liking for BMWs because we get a BMW type shifter here. What I call the Beamer swizzle stick. Back for drive, forward for reverse, down for manual. It works, but I don't think Grandma's going to be able to operate it when she takes it to church in the morning. I was reading some other reviews before I got this vehicle, just to see what other people were thinking, and the biggest complaint voiced was this instrument panel. They're bitching and whining because it slants downward at an angle further down here than up here, if you can notice on the camera. There we go. They just can't stand this. Well, there's a reason GM did this, is to eliminate reflections and glare. In fact, I just moved the vehicle out here in the sun, and you notice there's no reflection or glare. See, someone at GM was thinking, knew what they were doing. A lot smarter than the YouTube testers that were whining and complaining about this. Unfortunately, while the glare and reflection was eliminated on the gauge cluster, not so much on the windshield. You can see the HUD display reflecting. You can see the air vents reflecting over here. Very annoying, but nothing serious. I did have one complaint. I spent about an hour trying to find the trip odometer, and apparently this vehicle doesn't have one. I read the owner's manual. It says some vehicles will have this feature and some will not. How can you have a vehicle without a trip odometer? I've never seen this before. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments section. Also, in other vehicles, you can usually reset the mileage computer to 0 when you prefer it, but here they just give you increments of 25, 50, and 40, 50 miles. I don't really care for this either, but it is what it is. Okay, first half of the video, show and tell is over. Second half of the video, we're going to go out and do some driving. We'll start by taking these headlights out and see how these LEDs work. Well, I was going to test the headlights, but apparently other people have other ideas. On the 75-mile-per-hour freeway, well, happy hour again. Some drunks causing a racket up here. It's dark enough. Shut up, horn. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. We'll take these headlights out and see what they do. Here we have the low beams on a wall 100 feet away. Very bright. High beam. Bright again. Decent spread. Here we have the brights on the building 300 feet away. Very good light, good height, good spread. Go low beam. Low, but actually reaches out. More than adequate, I would say. And the rearview camera looks pretty good in the dark. A lot better than you're seeing on my camera, because my camera's cheap. Gets a little fuzzy in the dark, but trust me, it looks better than what it is. Looks better than what you're seeing. The power steering on this vehicle is very quick, responsive, and light. I don't think there'll be many complaints. And keep in mind, this is the two-wheel drive version of the CT-4. There's an all-wheel drive version I haven't tried. I don't know how the steering is going to feel on that. As we do in all of our videos, we're going to take some mild speed humps around 20 miles per hour. See how the suspension performs on impact. Here comes bump number 1. Pretty smooth. Here comes number 2. Smooth again. On the street, this is a very comfortable vehicle to drive. So I'm not surprised we're doing good on these speed bumps. Here comes the nasty one. Oh, felt that one just a little bit. Overall, though, this is a smooth riding vehicle. So how fast does this turbo engine in the Cadillac, 2.7 liters, 325 horsepower, just how fast does it accelerate? What is the 0 to 60 time? Well, I got my new issue of Car and Driver today, and they just happened to be testing the Cadillac CT-4 with the same engine and transmission. And they're claiming a 0 to 60 time of 4.4 seconds. And to that I say hogwash. You believe that, I'll sell you a bridge in Brooklyn. I tested this Mustang GT, 460 horsepower, 10-speed automatic. A weight to horsepower ratio of around 8.1. Best 0 to 60 time we got was 4.6 seconds, which is pretty quick, by the way. Look, don't get me wrong, this engine is very powerful and this car is extremely quick. I'd say maybe 0 to 60 in 5.5 seconds, maybe 5. Well, let's find out. Okay, traction control off, got your stopwatch ready. 1, 2, 3. Well, I did 5 runs. Here's the best time. 0 to 60 in 6.03. I'm rather surprised the 0 to 60 time wasn't quicker. I figured 5.5 seconds would be a good figure, but it is kind of hot outside and turbos don't like working in heat. If it cools off, maybe we'll do another 0 to 60 run. It's a lot cooler tonight. Let's do another 0 to 60 run and see if we get a better time. Got your stopwatch. 1, 2, 3. So enough of the fuel economy numbers and the 0 to 60 times. Let's take this car out on the back roads. After all, it is a sports sedan, and see what it will do. And this engine's a lot more lively than the numbers would lead you to believe. That's a lot of pickup once it gets rolling. If you like to choose gears manually, that's where the paddle shifters on the steering wheel come in. Although with 10 gears to choose from, it gives your fingers a pretty good workout. The Cadillac folks have been trying to make their vehicles more like the expensive German cars we get from Audi, BMW, and Benz. As far as handling and throttle response, for the most part, they've succeeded. Braking as well. This vehicle is really hugging the road and doing it comfortably. Yes, Cadillac's come a long way over the years. This engine really likes to rev at high RPM, but the turbo makes a lot of weird wheezing noises while it's doing so. Not a bad thing, it just takes some getting used to hear it. I don't know if you hear it on the speakers at your end, but trust me, it's there. This is a very treacherous part of the road to be driving on at night. Big drop-offs on the edge, no guardrails, and all kinds of little critters that will kill you if you step out of the car. So you want a vehicle that's going to stay on the road and get back. But I don't think we're going to have a problem with this Caddy. It's doing just fine. We're going to take a highway trip, see what type of fuel economy we can get off this vehicle. 110 to 170 miles, depending on the route. It'll be enough. This suspension isn't the quietest I've ever driven on a so-called luxury car, but it does a pretty good job absorbing impacts on the highway. I'd say it's smooth enough considering the size. The steering's a bit lighter than what I prefer, but I'll get used to it soon enough, I'm sure. We're coming to the end of the line, around 147 miles thus far. Let's see what the fuel economy reading says. The fuel economy was being read in 25-mile increments, and the worst we had was 29.9. This one was 30.4. The best 35.1, I don't know what that is. That's been there since I got the car. But overall, I'd say the fuel economy on level ground and the freeways, and even 30 miles to the gallon, which is pretty close to what was claimed, I think. So what's my take on this Cadillac after a week of driving? Aside from a few minor complaints about the computer system I didn't like, which is not deal killer, Overall, this is a very nice car, and Cadillac's come a long ways. Very pleasurable to drive, good looking. If you're looking for something in a sports sedan at this price, give it a look. And here's some links to 2 other luxury vehicles we tested. Just click and watch.